Hey, welcome to X Garage. Thank you so much for joining us today. Today we are not specifically jumping into, well, I guess we are kind of jumping into the world of worldviews and the Christian worldview. We're talking about a project that we have been working on for over a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
well, we say it's not been like a project we put much time into over a year, but it's been in the works for a year.
Yeah, well, it took a chunk of time. I mean, you know,
It's quality work.
Yeah,
most of that work was done. Yeah, I'd say
by Heath.
in our 3 months of research for the 4 episodes we did.
Yeah. So,
but anyway.
Yeah. So we released our first book on X Garage on Amazon Kindle, and there is a physical copy that's in process right now. So if you want to get a physical copy at some point, you are more than welcome to. But yeah, we're super excited about it, and so it's free for the next 3 days, including today. We better get this video up today so people know. Get the free copy. We'll probably do this again later, but hey, for now it's free. Go get it for free. Unless you want to support us, wait a couple days and buy it, or buy the physical copy, because we're not giving that one away for free.
Right.
Cool. So yeah, I just wanted to talk a little bit about, when we first started X Garage, we decided to jump into Scientology just because it seemed weird, and none of us had studied something like that before in that great of detail, and it had a plethora of information to study because they had a lot of books, a lot of material to work through to kind of get an idea of what their system was. So this is really, our first attempt of putting things obviously into writing and making a systematic theology of sorts for people to consume and get the basic concepts.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. Like, it's the book itself is laid out so that anyone, basically the intent of it is that a reader could go into this book and find exact citations from Hubbard's writings that correspond to particular subjects, like revelation. What's the basis of Scientology's view of knowledge? How do we know things, or how do they, as a religion, situate all their beliefs? Well, we go through and we give specific citations where we obviously give our interpretation in which or a fair assessment of what Scientology believes, but we also leave those citations there for the readers so they can go and research those out themselves. And it gives a real good, number one, understanding of their positions, but also I think it would be helpful for believers to witness to people who are in Scientology themselves, or dabble in it, or are actually, there's quite a few people that identify with it, or see it as a practical way of dealing with stress in life. But so this actually gives a lot of what this really does is, I'll say this and I'll open it back up to you guys. What I think this work really does is it focuses on the underlining spiritual concepts that Scientology does not directly state up front to people coming in. It discloses all that presuppositions on their views of demonology, their true positions on deity, God, and things that they use to really, what they claim to be liberating people is really suppressing and binding people. And so this really brings out how that is and why that is, and gives people kind of an arsenal of information to help real witness to the truth.
Awesome. Can you think of anything in there that would point to that concept, Heath?
Which one? The demonology?
I mean, like the spiritual concepts that they keep suppressed or hidden up front.
Yeah. One actually, let's do it that with demonology. Demons study. Well, actually, angelology is how we have it labeled in the book under chapter 4. So the study of angels, and that really focuses on in the book. It talks about fallen angels, otherwise known as demons, biblically, and uh, so what Hubbard does in Dianetic therapy is really the base practice of Scientology, which they tell people is going to help free them. So Dianetics, there's a book that lays down all of Hubbard's thoughts, and in there he has a chapter titled Demons, or Demons something. It's got like a subtitle to it, but demon is really the heart phrase behind this an entire section of the book. Yet he claims that demons um, are a fiction, and they're not to be conceived of as a reality. And he continues to press that home throughout all of his works. Actually, most of his stuff, you'll always see this common theme arise where he's suppressing the idea of demons. Yet all of his mechanics in, say, like dynamic therapy uh, are ways in which, when we look at the biblical motifs and the ways in which Satan works, is exactly what their whole system is set up to do: open the mind up to the persuasion of demonic influence. Because they pretty much get you into a near trance state in Dianetics, but you're not technically there. You're just almost to this open state of mind. Their idea of us being our own divinity is again a satanic lie of old, where we are one with infinity, is what he calls it. And so, on one hand, he's saying there's no such thing as demons, yet everything in the entire system matches up to what biblically would be defined as demonic teaching. So for us, as we extra in our episodes, when we went through it, we really emphasized the fact that even though Hubbard denies demons, he is, by his very teaching demonic thought.
He's made a playground. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say and so basically he's, and to me, one of the things that stood out is that usually when you keep emphasizing something, it's because you're trying to, almost like a child's, you're doing something wrong, so you're trying to skirt around it, or try to hide the fact of it. It's almost like that's what he's doing. He's trying to hide this, whether he's cognizant of it or not in his own work, his own life. It's like he has this notion that he needs to suppress the idea of demons, and on a level that is off-putting and strange. There's no reason for him to be doing that if, in fact, he doesn't believe in demons. So anyway, going on that, but Jake and Ethan, we both, I think it was Jake in the episode, but noted how he, what was it? He even had quite a personal experience and time spent with occultic figures.
Mm-hmm.
So this isn't even just. Not only does his works teach demonic thought, while at the same time saying demons don't exist. Again, the conflict there. But in his own life, he spent some fond time with people and practicing demonic, literally calling on Satan, activity.
Yeah.
So that would just be one area, and there's many, I think.
It's also it's sorry, go ahead, Ethan.
I just wanted to chime in on that. Yeah, because I think majorly we discovered the connection with sort of the spiritual realm when we went over was it Wiccanism and his connections with Aleister Crowley especially, and so we can definitely see those deep demonic connections that he has with some of those very shady spiritual figures in the history, in history.
Right. And that was one of the things, I think it's a line in the book, I was glancing through it today, that in a system where you teach people that Satan does not exist, it opens the door for Satan to have all kinds of play. Basically,
Yeah.
it's saying, don't worry about satanic stuff, and yet, so all the while, all that's going on in the system is satanic. So it's identifying, it's basically that deception. It's a deceptive move. It's identifying yourself as an angel of light when in fact you're in practice and in reality one seeking to kill, steal, and destroy the person's very soul. I really do believe that that's essentially what this system does. Is it traps and it quenches and it kills the life in persons, when in fact it promises freedom. It promises the very opposite of what it actually breeds. We actually, in the episode, we slightly mentioned on Tom Cruise and how he was jumping on the couch on Oprah's show, and how that was really a sign that Tom had reached the
clear stage.
Yep.
He'd gone clear.
He had gone clear. And so he released all that divine energy or infinity. The urge for survival had been released from his suppressed troubles in his life, had released all this energy into his body to show that he was really becoming more resourceful with his own divinity and his own spiritual life. I'm going to call it divinity for what it is. That's what they call it. I mean, they call it infinity, but at the end of the day, they equate that with divinity. And so this idea that we ourselves are divine, but Tom Cruise jumping on the couch, those are some things that if you get into our chapter on anthropology, you'll be able to the reader will be able to pick up and say, oh, that makes sense. Through Dianetic therapy, the reactive mind is losing its engrams, or these things that are storing poor thoughts are getting released. And with that, energy gets released. And the more poor thoughts you overcome, the more energy you get, which is essentially releasing the divine in you. The more not erratic, the more charismatic you become. And so, i.e., in practice, what Tom was doing on that show was the very thing a real clear should be doing.
Yep. I was remembering, so I was taking care of my sick child a bit ago, and I was remembering there was a section on, I think it was in Dianetics, where Hubbard was basically saying that one of the ways that parents or grandparents may unintentionally harm their children is when in situations like them being sick, if you take care of them, or if you assist them in some loving way, children will learn that it's good to be sick, or it's good to be with those ailments. So basically their equivalent of they're not demons, but they're basically spiritual forces that will, the engrams, they'll hold on to that negative energy. That will teach you that when good things happen associated with bad things, those bad things will latch them onto you. So say if there is a sin in your life that was encouraged by a bad thing that somebody else did, or a bad circumstance, that will attach itself to you as an engram. So it makes you not responsible for your own vices. Basically, it's teaching you that you're not responsible for the bad things that happen, insofar as you're not in Dianetic therapy, basically.
Yeah.
So it forces the blame onto other people, which is a horrendous thing to do, especially when it comes from love.
Yeah, it really removes all accountability. I mean, in truth, that was one of the real fascinating thoughts that we found in their system, was that sin, well, of course they don't call it sin or transgression because there's no actual objective moral standard. Although that conflicts in their system, but anyhow.
Yeah, and for clarity, what would happen for a person if they did get sick? and their parents did that, it's likely that you'll continue getting more sick because you've basically taught the engramic problem that to get love, to be taken care of, you need to be sick.
Yeah, and that's another thing that's interesting is that it gets so extreme that your molecules in your body, which are store this poor uh, information from the past, even from your parents and ancestors, gets carried up into your genetic code.
Yep.
And so even when the process of being totally cleared, could go on, depending on whoever's in the highest authority of their standing, could just tell you that you're not clear for till you go to the grave. I mean, you'll be caught up into that system trying to clear yourself of all these poor feelings, which again, technically are either transgressions done to you or you've done unto someone else. It's something that you'll never actually overcome until the people in the highest authority determine you've overcome it.
Right. Yeah. Do you guys remember ever listening to L. Ron Hubbard talk?
Yeah. I mean, so those little clips.
Yeah. He just had such, I mean, he obviously had like kind of a unique way of speaking, but it does make sense when you listen to him talk, and it's easy to imagine people would kind of feel enamored with his personality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Ethan, did you have any thoughts on the book itself? Anything? I know you were in there checking it out this morning. Ethan and I were we're in there checking it out.
I was just reading the introduction and just really reflecting on just how far we've come, and just as a podcast, as a ministry, and just it's really cool that we're actually producing this book and getting this information out there. It's I just reading through it, it's really easy to read, great citations, information, for a lot of people who may have heard our podcast on Scientology, and it may have just gone over their heads because we were in the beginning of our podcasting, and we really hit this one really hard in a very good way. I think that this really just kind of lays it out in a way that is really friendly for people to just kind of dive in and really get a good grasp on the book. We go over, what is it, 7 different sections of Scientology in the book. We go over Revelation, theology proper, creation, angelology, anthropology, hamartiology, and soteriology. And all those are some big ology words, but even for our average reader, you'll get a better understanding of what they think about these things. I think is incredibly helpful. So for our listeners, head over to Kindle, grab a copy. Like, this is an incredible resource, if nothing else. It's one of those religions. It kind of sticks around because there's a lot of popular people, very influential cultural figures that are part of it, and so I think it's incredible, like incredible resource. If nothing else.
Yeah, and so those who are familiar with like Kingdom of the Cults and what was that, Walter Martin? I was going to say Martin Walter, almost just in it backwards. That's how you cite it. But that book is another, obviously that was done over years of time, and they put a lot of work into that. I'd say why this is different is that it's getting directly to specific categorical points, where Walter Martin really is writing in a way that it's systematic, but it's also very much, he's bringing in historical points and some other points along with everything else. Whereas this one is actually just more focused on the doctrine of their thought, the propositions of what they think, and it stays glued on that one topic before moving on to the next.
Mm-hmm.
Where Walter's doing a little bit more historical, theological, biblical, all kinds of things at once. And this may have way more citations probably from Dianetics, which we believed as we went into this series was the most important work to deal with, because that was really the real launch of the whole system.
Yep. Cool, guys. Well, let's call it there for today. And we know what we're hoping to be able to do more of these in the future. We're not sure when we're going to be able to start picking that up, but this is part of our long-term goal, is to provide resources to understand the cults and other religions around the world, or other thought forms. So if you have any
books are on the way.
More books are on the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Let us know which of our series that we've done. Let us know which one you guys would like to see come out next. I mean, we've got stuff from BHI, Black Hebrew Israelites, to Wicca. What else? We got
Baha'i.
Baha'i.
That'd be a fun one.
Unitarian Universalism. Not much to write on that, but just go to their site, I guess. No, we do have a lot on that too, I think. Yes, we do. Yeah, it'd be interesting to hear what our viewers would like to see us put out next. And then also, if you guys pick up this Scientology book, leave some feedback on where is it, Jake? Where can they leave feedback?
Yeah, leave a review on Kindle and Goodreads.
Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome.
Next we got to get an audio book up. So one of you get your tongue exercises going.
And leather, yellow leather.
You don't want me reading out loud. It's
Cool. All right, guys. Well, we'll talk to you soon. And X Garage.
X Garage.
X Garage.